Hi, this is Lou Pamonte, and this is Music from the Inside. So, you want to be a musical director. In my 50-year career, I have MD'd a lot of very large shows, and most of these shows are one-offs. So I've MD'd for the Canadian Songwriters Hall of Fame, possibly 10 times, the Juno Awards, which are Canada's Grammys, the Genies and the Geminis, which are basically the Emmys and the Oscars here up in Canada, and lots of other stuff too. One-off shows for artists that may be just doing a show. But I had to talk about the big ones, okay? And there's two types of these shows. There are televised and non-televised. And I can tell you right now that the most stressful job that I've ever had in my career as a musician is being the on-air musical director, conductor, player for a televised national broadcast of an awards show. We're going to get into that a little bit later, but there's a lot going on. Let's look at the prep. What happens? The producer calls you, asks you if you want the job, you make a deal, I want this much money, and then the Zoom calls start. And it's usually at least a couple of months of Zoom calls multiple times a week as you're talking to the producer, the associate producer, you're talking to the staging guys, you're talking to the lighting guys, you're talking to the tech guys, you're talking to the video wall guys, and everyone's getting their stuff together, and you have to remember that you are part of this team. So when the staging guys are talking about where the band goes, the setup on stage for the band, you got to be right in there, and you got to make sure, most of all, my number one tip, you have to make sure that no matter what fancy ideas the stage designers have, you have to have a sight line to each and every member in your house band. So that means you have to see them and they have to see you. That means no cymbals in front of the drummer's face. That means no fancy staging where one guy is facing this way and I'm facing this way. It doesn't work. I always demand that I have clear sight lines at all times with my players. You go through this whole process, then finally, it's the week of the show. After you've figured out who the guest artists are, what songs they're doing. Now, you have to remember that in the month before, once they've decided who they will be, you are on the phone with these people and you are on email with these people constantly. Let's say somebody wants to sing Working for the Weekend because we're celebrating Loverboy. So you have to find a key, you have to find out the genre. Is this a kind of a show where we're going for true to the original versions? Or is this the kind of show where they want interesting and original ideas? A lot of times these shows like to pair duets of people. Guy and a girl, usually a legacy artist and an upcoming artist, at least up here, that's what happens a lot. Are you going to write an original arrangement of something or are you just going to sound like the record? I've done both. It's a lot more gratifying to do an original arrangement, and that's where I won all my Gemini Awards for. I've had as many as 17 guest artists, singers on the show at a time, and that's a lot of juggling. I do suggest if you have a very large show with like 15 to 17 performances, you're going to need an assistant to keep track of everything for you. So once you got all the songs are ready to go, you've talked to the artist, everyone's aware, you might have to make a demo of something, make sure everyone's got the MP3s and all that stuff. Once that's settled, then you have to write the charts for the show. Now, a lot of musical directors farm this out. I get it. If Ricky Minor is doing American Idol every week, he doesn't have time to sit down and write the charts. But if I'm doing this big show and I've got a lead up to it, I take the opportunity to do the charts myself. And I'll tell you why. There's two reasons. The very first and most important reason is that on a one-off show, you get one chance for everything to go right. So that means the charts have to be really good. They have to be done properly. There have to be no mistakes, and they have to be really clear. I make sure when I do my charts, I don't just do rehearsal letters. I do verse 1, pre-1, chorus 1, verse 2, pre-2, chorus 2, bridge, tag, chorus 3, out. I make sure that everybody knows what is going on. I send MP3s of all the songs and I send the charts out to everyone. The second reason why I do these charts myself, because this is how I learn the songs inside and out. This is how I get intimate with these songs. And I think it's very important for a musical director to know these things inside and out, to get right inside of them. Now, for example, I just finished a Canadian Songwriters Legend show, which is the smaller of our two shows. We were inducting Gino Vannelli. Now, this was just a few months ago. Just so you know, Gino Vannelli is one of my major influences in my entire career. I absolutely worship this guy and his music. And he was going to be sitting in the front row, and we were going to be playing People Gotta Move, which was like his first hit single. And I knew he was going to be in the front row. in a moment like that, I need to know this thing inside and out before I even walk in. Now, a song like that, I already knew the ins and outs of it, but it had to come off flawlessly, and thank God it did. And he complimented me on my solo afterwards. Doing the charts myself, it's more work and it's kind of drudge work, but I know exactly what's in those charts. Now, as a musical director, don't forget, they are paying you 10 times what the sidemen are making, and you should be making 10 times. They are paying you 10 times what the sidemen are making because you're responsible. You're responsible for the music. You aren't responsible for the lights or the staging or, even the featured artist. You're not totally responsible, but your house band, you are 100% responsible. And if somebody fucks up, it's on you and you have to eat it. So we're in rehearsals. Now, there's that moment at the rehearsal. Don't forget, my dysfunction is my superpower, and I stutter a little bit. There's that moment where the featured artist, the guest artist, walks into the rehearsal hall. The very first thing that a musical director does is he stops what he's doing and he walks up and introduces himself. Usually the producer is bringing the artist in. It's very important that you walk up right away, shake their hands, say hello, tell them who you are, and make sure that if they have any musical needs for this entire show, you're the one that they need to come to. I find that that's the only way to really get off on a good foot. Now, you've usually spoken to them on the phone, but there's been no face-to-face. So this is the first face-to-face. Normally, I never have more than 45 minutes with an artist to rehearse their song. So you have to impress upon them to be ready to go, because we're not going to be sitting around working out parts or anything like that. You got to know your thing and you got to be ready to go. Now, a lot of these young artists, especially because they're new to showbiz, they aren't like showbizzed up yet. The older guys, they know what's going on. Okay, this, it's an award show. It's showbiz. This is the showbiz part of your career. You may be a fabulous artist on your own records, but when you become part of the machine, when you become part of award shows and award season, this is showbiz now. And that's the only reason why this stuff exists, is to create a star system. So I try to impress upon these guys. There are certain genres that are not good at this, and there are certain genres that are very good at this. I'd say 90% of the time, your artists, young and old, are very good at this. There's usually one per show that's kind of lackadaisical and kind of like, hey man, hey, this is cool. And then there's the people that come in, they've done their homework, bang, bang, and they get asked back for the next show. So anyways, the rehearsals are done. Then you usually get one day on stage in venue. The rehearsal is usually at a rehearsal hall, hopefully in the same venue. At Massey Hall, it's in the same venue, but not on the stage. So then the day before the show, we get to go on the stage and we run everything once. And it's really just a quick run through once all the tech is sorted out. Let's go back now about a month or two. I'm going to say what I think is the most important thing in being a musical director, or it's certainly one of the most important things, and that is hiring the right people for the house band. I think anyone in a leadership position, it all depends on who you surround yourself with. Now, I've got a crew of people that I've come down to in the last few years, and I know that when I walk into that hall and I, for the very first time, go 1, 2, 3, 4, I know it's going to just basically be there. It's not a big deal. I might have a note or two for the people in the band, but it's basically 99% there. And that's what you want. From time to time, I've been handed a diversity mandate, and as I should be. And that does make things difficult because sometimes the choices aren't as wide. It may not be people that I've met before. And in my house band, I need to have people that I know what they're capable of doing. So I've had a couple of bad experiences, but it's good for a guy like me to stretch and meet new players, new younger players. Also, and this isn't just for music, this is for any job that you do in your life, but musical direction and for even writing scores for movies or anything like that, it's really important on the first day to ascertain who your boss is. Who are you answering to? It might not be the person that you've been on the phone with for a month. It might not be them. Who's the person that can fire you? Is basically the answer to that question. If it's the producer, then you have to establish a good relationship with that producer so that they know that they can come to you if they have a problem. I was fired off a U.S. network television show once because I didn't know who my boss was. She kind of stayed in the wings a little bit, and when she poked her head up, I didn't know that she was my boss, and I wasn't acting accordingly, and she fired me. She just fired me. So very important. Find out who can fire you, and that's the relationship that you need to nurture. Another one of the main important points is that as the musical director, you set the tone on the stage. So that means you have to be calm. You cannot be, oh my God, there's so many details on a big show and there's so many stars coming in and out and egos, and the lighting guys are futzing around and making too much noise while you're trying to practice. And the staging guys are moving stuff and we're trying to play on the stage. It's like you have to maintain a calm atmosphere. I've had people come up to me on a bad day and go, wow, you were really calm during all that stuff. And I thought to myself, well, I'm sure glad I looked calm, because I was not calm inside. I was freaking out. But I made sure that I kept a calm exterior, because you set the tone and you've got to let everybody know that everything is cool at all times. So just know that when it comes to being a musical director, I've always found that the music is the easy part. The music's the fun part. It's the 2 months leading up to it. It's the dealing with the artists. It's the doing of the charts. It's the hiring of the band. It's talking to the musicians union and setting union rates for the house band to be earning and all those kinds of things. Once you get on stage and it's 1, 2, 3, it's like, oh, this is what I came for. And it's probably like that in most of music. It's like the famous story where the guy says, you aren't paying me to play. You're paying me to load my car in the snow, drive 150 miles to the gig, set up my gear, and then tear down my gear after the show and drive home. That's what you're paying me for. The playing is free. I just want you to leave you with the fact that on a music-based show, I really do believe that the musical director is or can be the star of the show. Now, I'm a player as well. So I'm on stage playing keyboards and conducting, usually from stage left on a riser so that everyone can see me. So I'm very, very visible. I'm the guy that's there on every song. So you start to get a certain profile. You're very visible. And like I said, it's all about the responsibility of the show, and you have to be able to guarantee the producer that 100% the music's going to be fine. Your producer has a lot to worry about. And if she doesn't have to worry about the music, then you become her favorite guy. Anyways, until next time.